What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cubs. So, a few weeks ago, we made a video for how to increase FPS and reduce stuttering and frame drops and so on. A lot of this video will have some of that in there again too, but we're just going to show you every step that we've ever done to our PC personally to get our best FPS possible, and our game's been feeling better than it ever has. So, first thing I want to show you guys is my Nvidia control panel. So unfortunately, this is only for Nvidia users. GeForce, RTX, any Nvidia graphics card, this is only going to work for those. So recently, I'm going to have his link in the description. A YouTuber named Pangino. He recently posted an updated 2020 video on the control panel, and it made a huge difference for me on what he changed. So we're going to go through it here just one by one here. So for image sharpening, if this is off, you want to turn this on, and by default it's going to be on 0.50 and 0.17. You want to leave that at that, and then select GPU scaling and hit OK. Ambient inclusion, this might be off, turn this to performance. The next four are going to be off, filtering off, FXAA off, gamma correction off, mode off. GPUs, CUDA will be all, DSR factors off, low latency mode, okay. So you guys may want to mess around with this because I've always had this on Ultra, and I've preached that I want it on Ultra all the time, and I felt like it was the best. I don't know if it was because of an update or something, but I recently turned it to on, and it actually feels better. But this one you can mess with between on and Ultra. As long as you're getting over 80 FPS in game, on or Ultra will be the way to go. But I like it on, but you guys might prefer it off, or on Ultra, but I like it on. So max frame rate off, monitor technology. I do not recommend using G-Sync. We're going to go into that next step after, but put it on fixed refresh. Sampled AA off. And for the rendering GPU, turn this from auto select to your graphics card. Power management, prefer maximum performance. Preferred fresh rate, highest available. And then shader cache on, texture filtering, anisotropic sample on, negative LOD bias, allow, quality high performance, trilinear optimization on, third optimization auto, and then off for triple buffering, off for VSync, one pre-rendered frame, and then variable refresh rate super off. So for me, I didn't actually officially change anything because I just put it back to what I was on. Off. So you're just want to hit apply down here. Once you change those, you're going to go over to configure sound, and then go ahead and change your processor over here to your graphics card again, and then hit apply. Change resolution on any monitor you're using. Like for me, it's 1920 by 1080. Make sure you're on the highest refresh rate possible. You go over to Nvidia color settings, hit use Nvidia color settings, and then for the output dynamic range, go to full, and then hit apply. I didn't actually change it, but you hit apply to save it. And you do that for both monitors, use Nvidia color settings full. And then adjust desktop color settings. You can mess with this digital vibrance here between 70 and 80%. I prefer it at 80%. It looks so much better to me. Adjust desktop size and position. Back in the 3D settings window, if you did select the GPU scaling, which I recommend, this will all be grayed out, and you want to leave it like that. Don't mess with that. And then G-Sync, I don't recommend using G-Sync. I've turned it off recently too, and that's part of why my game's been feeling so much smoother. And we're going to go back up to adjust image settings with preview. A lot of videos, it tells you to put it on use my emphasize performing performance. You do not want this button checked because you want to use the 3D settings that we're setting up in the manage 3D settings. So you want to select use the advanced 3D image settings. So if this is on the use my preference emphasizing, turn that to use the 3D image settings. And then for the adjust video color settings, you want to go to, again, with the Nvidia settings on both monitors, and then change this from limited to full on both, from limited to full, and then apply. And then I do suggest restarting your computer and coming back to this video, but that's going to do it for the Nvidia control panel. The next step is going to be setting up ultimate performance in your power plan. So I have a command here that it's gonna, these are all gonna be, everything I'm using in this video will be in the description. So this is gonna be, we're just gonna copy this. You're gonna want to type in command, run it as administrator, and then you just want to right click or Control V to paste it and hit enter. And then you'll see ultimate performance here. You're going to go to edit power plan. You can type in edit and it'll usually come up. Go to power options, and I have a couple just because I've already, done this before. And you want to select ultimate performance and then go to change plan settings, go to change advanced power settings. Make sure you turn off hard disk, make sure that's at 0. For wireless adapter settings, go to power saving mode, make sure this is at maximum performance. This should already be like that, but just make sure. PCI Express, link state power management, make sure that's off. And then processor power management, make sure your maximum processor state's 100 and your minimum processor state is 100. And then your system cooling policy is active. If that all looks good, you just hit apply and OK, and that's your power plan. And then you're going to want to, you can get to this by typing in create and go to create a restore point. We're not actually going to create a restore point, but if you go to remote, this might be checked. If this isn't checked, you want to check it. Go to advanced, make sure these two are unchecked. Hit OK, uncheck this again, and hit apply. You don't want anything checked under remote. And then go under advanced, and then under performance, hit settings. To get rid of all these should all be checked if you haven't messed with them before. If you hit best performance, or just custom, you just want these all unchecked and only check smooth edges and screen fonts and show thumbnails instead of icons. Those are the only two you want checked. And then hit apply, OK, and then that's it for the system properties. And then Windows settings. The biggest one is privacy. You're going to want everything off. Turn everything off. General off, speech off, everything off. We're just going to make it real easy. Diagnostics, turn that to basic, but we're going to turn everything off except for camera and microphone. If you're not using a microphone or you don't have a webcam, you can turn these off. It won't hurt, but if you're using those, leave those on. Everything else, though, turn off. You're not going to use any of these, especially background apps. But turn everything off, guys. Everything off except camera or microphone. Go to update and security. You want to make sure you're always up to date. And then under advanced options, you want to turn all these off. So that way nothing's doing an update as you're playing and it's going to lower your FPS. So you're going to want to make sure these are all off. Under delivery optimization, make sure this is off as well. And that'll do it for that section. And then you're going to want to go to gaming. I recommend turning this off for most people watching this, as well as captures. Turn this off. Anything in here off. Game mode, you want that on though. You do want game mode on. As of most recent update, everyone is running game bar now, or game mode, sorry. You want that on. But me, I do clip with game bar, and it runs fine for me, but I do recommend turning this off if you're having any extra issues still. I recommend turning game bar off, but if you do clip with it, leave it on. If not, turn it off. And then for personalization, you're going to want to go to background. For the best performance possible, you're going to want to run a solid color. Like I just have gray. And then for colors, turn transparency effects off. And then for your start menu, you don't need any of this on either. And then your taskbar, I mean, this is just preference, but you don't have to change any of that. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so for notifications and actions, you want to turn this off. Focus assist, you want to turn this off. Power and sleep, change this to never, never. Storage, turn that off. Multitasking, turn those off. Tablet mode, you won't be using tablet mode. turn these two off and change this to use desktop mode, and then don't ask me and don't switch. And then remote desktop, some Windows 10 editions don't have this, but if you have this option, turn that off. You do not want remote desktop on. And that'll do it for the Windows settings. I would once again restart after that. And then for this now, you want to go to this PC in the search bar. You're going to want to find where your Fortnite is downloaded. So for me, it's on my D drive. So I'm going to click on that. Go to Fortnite. Go to Fortnite game. Go to binaries, Win64, and then find the 4 that have the Fortnite logo. You're going to want to I'm only going to show you on one of them, but you want to do it on all 4 with the logo. You right click, go to properties, go to compatibility up at the top. Make sure you check disable full screen optimizations. Go to change high DPI settings and check the override perform scaling behavior and make sure it's on application. Do that for all 4, hit OK, and do that for all 4. And then that's that. And as long as we're in here, we're going to show you, we're going to go back to this PC. You right click on any drive that you have, whether it's SSD or HD. Click on either drive, go to properties, right click on it and go to properties. And then make sure you uncheck allow files on this drive. This is drive indexing. This is just extra CPU usage that you do not need. So you just want to uncheck allow files. It'll bring you up another window. You just hit OK and just make sure this stays unchecked on both drives. Unchecked. I also recommend doing a disk cleanup for both. I'm not going to do it now just because it takes a minute or two and we want to make this video as quick as we can. But you want to do a disk cleanup on both, so you'll hit disk cleanup. I'm not actually going to do it, but then make sure these are all checked and hit OK, and then or you can hit cleanup system files. But you want to do a disk cleanup. You can do that as many times as you can, every once a week, 2 times a week. But do a disk cleanup on all your drives as well. And then now we're going to go to MS. In the bottom corner, you're going to type in ms-config. We're going to go to boot. We're going to go to advanced options. You're going to want to select number of processors here if it's not checked already, and then select the highest number of processors that's on there. And then hit OK. And then change the timeout to 5 seconds, and then select the Node GUI boot. And then hit apply and OK. And then here's another link in the description. The use all available cores. So you see here how the number is 8. That's going to change for everyone. And to see what your number is, you're going to want to go to Task Manager. And you can go to Performance. In my last video, I made a mistake. I was saying that you need to look at the cores. You're going to want to look at the logical processors. So whatever numbers your logical processors, so for mine's 8, yours could be 12, it could be 16, it could be 6, 4, whatever your logical processors are, that's the number you have to change this 8 to. So if you have 4, you put it to 4, 16, 16. And then you'll open up your Epic Games launcher once you have that link copied and the number changed to what you need to. Going to want to go to Settings and then click on Fortnite, the arrow. If you haven't already have it selected, check the additional command line arguments, erase anything you already have in here, and then right click and paste it or Control V it in here, and then press the arrow again to save it, go back, and then that's saved. And then now you want to go type in % local app data % and hit enter. Go to Fortnite game, saved, config, Windows client, and then game user settings. Open this up. First thing you're actually going to want to do is right click, go to properties, uncheck read only. Uncheck read only if you're going to be changing anything. I'm not, so I'm just going to leave it checked, but uncheck it before you change anything. And then open it up. There's just a few things. So motion blur, make sure that's false. B showgrass, make sure that's false. And then show FPS true. And then where you may have to look for it, but where it says disable mouse acceleration, that should be on false for you guys. Turn that to true. And then whatever monitor FPS you is, so say your monitor is 144 Hertz, you're going to want to make your FPS 141. I have a 240 hertz monitor, so mine's set to 237. I'm trying to just find that to show you guys where it is. It'll say, it'll be easier to find for you guys. Okay, where is it? There it is. Okay, so frame rate limit 237. Depending on your monitor refresh rate, this could change for you. But yeah, like I said, if you have a 144 hertz, make sure that's 141. And for me, it's 240. So I'm put it at 237. And then right here, make sure all these are at 0, especially foliage quality. Make sure that's 0. You want everything on low. Okay, and then you'll hit File, Save, and then you'll exit out of that. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to open up Task Manager again. Go to Startup. I recommend disabling everything that's used for startup because you can always just open the app when you log on. You don't need really anything opening up automatically for you because it just isn't necessary. So I have everything disabled on the startup. It'll speed up the startup process and make sure nothing's running in the background that you don't need. And then before I forget, I do recommend downloading CC Cleaner. You can just type in CC Cleaner in Google. I'll try to put a link in the description for you guys as well for this. But you want to open this up. I run a clean probably every other day. So I'm not going to have a lot of files on here. See, I only have 8 megabytes, but you may have a lot more. Hit Clean All. And then your PC's feeling fresh. Boom. And then I also recommend downloading Malwarebytes. I'll put a link in the description for this as well. Once you have it downloaded, you want to hit Scan. And then if it finds any PUPs, you're just going to want to quarantine them and get rid of them. But I definitely recommend getting those 2 apps as well. So now we're going to go into graphics settings. Since I have my G-Sync off, the variable refresh rate option doesn't come up here. If it comes up for you and you don't have G-Sync, if you have a FreeSync, I recommend selecting it for FreeSync users, but G-Sync users, turn G-Sync off and don't put this anywhere, or don't set that if it is there for you. So now we're going to delete this. We're going to go to Browse. You want to once again find where Fortnite's downloaded, which for me is the D drive. Go to Fortnite game, binaries, Win64, and then you want to find the Win64 shipping one, double click, and then go to Options and go to High Performance and hit Save. We're going to go back to it, just make sure it's saved. Boom, Fortnite High Performance. Okay, so now whether you're on Ethernet or Wi-Fi, we're going to show you guys how to, we're going to go into a control panel. We're going to show you guys how to make a custom DNS server, the one that's the best US server for everyone. So we're going to go to Network and Internet, Network and Sharing Center. Click on whether it's Wi-Fi or Ethernet. For me, it's Ethernet. We're going to go to Ethernet, go to Properties, and then double click on Internet Protocol version 4, and then copy this right here. Preferred is 1111, and then 1112 for the secondary, and then hit OK. We're going to go to Properties again, go to Configure. Do not copy my settings here unless you are running Ethernet. The first thing you want to do though is go to driver. Only do this if you have Ethernet though. You do want to make sure your driver is still updated whether you're on Wi-Fi or Ethernet, but the advanced settings I'm going to show you are strictly for Ethernet users only. We're going to want to update driver, search automatically. I should be up to date with mine. The best driver is already installed, so hit close, go to advanced, and then these are a little confusing just because you may not have the same exact wording or as mine. It may look a little different, but just try to go ahead and copy what I have here. So adaptive inner frame facing disabled, the enable PME enabled, energy efficient Ethernet off, flow control disabled, master slave mode auto detect, interrupt moderation disabled, interrupt moderation rate adaptive, IP4, anything the checksum offload, that's disabled. Jumbo packet disabled. These two will stay disabled as well. The large send offload. Compatibility mode disabled. Make sure the logical administered address, this may be like network address for you guys, make sure that's not present. Log link state event enabled. RSS queues, you want to change this to as high of queues as you have. I only have 2, some might have 4. Make sure it's the highest queues. Priority packet, just leave that at what it is. It should be packet priority and VLAN enabled. And then this one, these two may be at the top of the list for you. ARP offload, make sure that's disabled, and NS offload disabled. Receive buffers. This number can be different. If you have 32 gigs of RAM like I do, you can do the 2048, which is the highest you need to go. If you only have like 8 gigs or 16 gigs, you may have to put it on like 124 or 128 or 512. If you have like 16 gigs, you might be able to do 1024. If not, just leave it what it was stock at, but you can always try 1024. It'll let you know if it doesn't work though. It'll say that it's too high. But I have mine on 2048. Receive side scaling enabled. Speed on power down disabled. Speed and duplex. You want this on the highest you have. So for me, obviously a gigabyte is bigger than a megabyte. So for me, the highest was 1 gigabyte full duplex. Yours might be 100 gigabytes. You know, if I didn't have the gigabytes, it would be 100 megabytes full duplex. Full is more than half, but I have gigabytes, so that one's the highest for me. And then we're going to go to speed idle power stable disabled, checksum offload disabled, checksum offload disabled. Transmit buffers, you want to make this the same as what you put to receive buffers. So for mine, still at 2048. RX and TX enabled for this checksum offload. UDP, these are both enabled. All these wake on ones, you want to disable these at the bottom. Auto detect for the wait for link, ultra low power mode enabled, and then hit close. And then because we just changed our DNS, you're going to want to type command, go to run as administrator again, and there's going to be another link in the description for this flush DNS right here. ipconfig flush DNS. Copy and paste that into the command. Copy and paste the flush DNS into the command and hit enter. It'll just flush all your old DNS cache that's in, like it's pretty much trash, but you want it to be removed completely. All right. And then that'll actually do it. So we're actually going to load into Fortnite here and show you guys actually the highest end or the best Fortnite settings for performance as well. That's one thing we've never showed in our videos. We've never actually shown like the proper Fortnite settings. I really enjoy making these kind of videos. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention too, I'll show that at the end. You always want to make sure that your graphics cards are up to date, whether it's Nvidia or AMD Radeon. Okay, so go into settings. You always want to make sure you're on full screen and then 1920 by 1080. If your monitor isn't 1920 by 1080, don't worry. Just make it whatever your monitor resolution is. And then don't worry about this saying 60 FPS because we capped it in the game user settings. It's going to say 60, but you're not obviously going to run 60. I run Deuteranote 5. It makes the color brightness a little better, and I love it. For quality presets, I recommend putting all this to low, 3D resolution 100%, and then make sure everything's low, near, and then off. motion blur off, show FPS on, VSync off. Allow multi-threaded rendering, turn that on. That's important. And then for audio, you want to make sure sound quality is on low, 3D headphones off, all this background audio off. Everything else is just default. And those are honestly the best Fortnite settings. Oh yeah, you also want to make sure your replays are turned off. Record large scene replays, you want all this off. Alright, and that's going to do it for the Fortnite settings. So if you have GeForce, to check if you have updates, you go into the GeForce experience. Go to drivers, check for updates. There was just one on the 3rd, so there's not going to be one. If there is, you download it and hit enter. Alright, I'm also going to leave a link in the description for the timer resolution. I recommend going to Pangino's page. There's one a while back for Chapter 2 updated FPS boost, which will get you this timer resolution folders. I recommend doing that video for that. I'll try to link for a description for that specific video as well. Okay, so also this link will be in the description for the TCP Optimizer. You're going to want to download this link, and then it will bring you to this TCP Optimizer. Okay, I'm going to exit it because you actually want to run it as administrator. So type it in the search bar, TCP Optimizer. See it comes up, run as administrator. You just want to copy the settings that I have here for the best performance. This is also, if you have Ethernet as well, you can do this with the wireless as well. It'll work better with the Ethernet. So if you do have Ethernet, you're going to want to go to, you want to uncheck don't modify network adapters and check modify all network adapters, and then select Ethernet connection. Slide this bar all the way over, and then if it doesn't let you type it in like it's all grayed out, you want to go to custom. And then for MTU, type in 1500, time to live 64, and then all these 5 here disabled. And then we go over here to TCP window auto tuning, that's normal. Scaling disabled. The CCP is you want to change this to the CTCP. And then receive side scaling enabled, and then king enabled. And then advanced settings, just copy what I have here. 10, 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, disabled, 2000, 3000, 0, optimal 1, gaming 0, disabled 1, enabled 1, disabled 0, default 0, default 1, 65534, and 30. So just take a look and just copy that. You can pause the video, it makes it real easy to copy it. So then we're only doing those 2 sections, that and that. I don't want to save anything, so I'm just going to hit exit. And then that'll do it. I'll try to leave every link to everything I did in the description for you guys. Let me know in the comments if this did help you out. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Hope this helps. Thank you. Bye.